Slurpy dub. How's it going, my G's? I'm still alive. Yeah, it's that YouTuber who went offline for a whole week and just ran away and left you deserted. And now he wants to sort of crawl back into your heart again and try and come at you with another Neurofunk bass sound. I've been sick for the last week. I've been in bed. I felt like I don't know why. I just haven't really watched much TV. But the only one thing I watched while I was sick was the June film again because I just love it, and I wanted to feel good on a Friday night, even though I was sort of just like hanging out in bed, just like dying. So I was like, let's put June on and get a takeaway because it's like the first thing I can probably eat. Because I was like on soup for like 3 days and that was horrible. Anyway, that's enough about me. Anyway, I was gonna say I felt like the Baron in June when he gets poisoned and he's like in this sort of gunky slime that he heals himself in, and I felt like that with like all these plans to like dominate the world with Neurofunk bass lines, but I just couldn't do it because I was like it's still in healing. So that's kind of how I felt. Anyway, today's Sunday. It's been like a week, and I've kind of like had a respite from my headache for a moment. So I thought, let's see if I can ease myself back into YouTube and make a little bass line. And yeah, I also had a lot of time for self-reflection while I was sort of lying in bed doing nothing. And I thought, what can I do differently? And I basically I didn't come up with any ideas. So I thought, let's just keep making Neurofunk sounds with phase plant because that was all right. So let's carry on. uh, oh, sorry. Anyway, I'm feeling better. Don't worry. I didn't need sympathy anymore. I was a lot worse before. Now I'm like, you don't want to see my face yet, but that'll come back again soon, hopefully, once I've healed completely. Anyway, yeah, so I hate seeing things on the news about like war and things like that. It really makes me upset. And I thought, how can I like transmute this feeling? And I thought every time I see something, I'm just going to digitally convert the like news article into like an AI image and then use that as inspiration to make a new sound. So this is the bridge of doom, I think I'm going to call it. And basically, when you have like it's a really cool sound effect where I don't know if it's like along bridges or along metallic things like tension wires and things like that. One of my patrons, BK, shout out to you if you're watching. He inspired this a while ago, like making a bass out of this sound. I'll play it for you here. This kind of echoey, lasery sound that you get like from long metallic like resonances and things like that. Yeah, I'm not very good at explaining the science behind it, obviously. But oh yeah, shout out to everyone in my Patreon and Discord as well who sent me lots of nice messages telling me that I should get better and things like that. 'Cause that was very nice to read. And yeah, I appreciate all the love. And shout out to all my students who had to deal with me rescheduling my whole week for the next week in advance because obviously I was too sick to even get out of bed, let alone like pretend that I can teach how to layer a snare drum and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway, I thought I'd make a bass using the wire swoosh. And yeah, let's listen to like the original sample and then the sort of little loop that I've come up with, and I'm just going to drop this on Patreon just to say thanks to you guys for just keeping me in a cheerful mood while I was bored out of my brains last week.
The parables of phase plant.
So yeah, really nice little bass sound here. No processing on it really, and really not that complicated. And just goes to show you don't need like loads of effects and things like that. And like often a cool sample and used in the right way, you can get some wicked sounds out of it. And I've actually got a load of macros to play with as well. So why don't I have a little play through these macros that I've made for you guys. Oh yeah, by the way, thanks to the people who bought my latest phase plant preset pack Power, which the links for that are down below, and there's also a free like mini pack as well. I don't think that many of you have downloaded the free pack. Maybe you haven't really known about it, but like yeah, if you use phase plant, There's like 10 free presets from on my website you can get. They're not the best in the world, to be fair. They're like the ones I was practicing on. But yeah, obviously the premium pack is a lot better. But yeah, anyway, there's some free presets there anyway. Yeah, so let's like play with these macros while I go through the loop. So I really like the long actually, because basically the rhythm from the whole bass like comes from the length of the looping of the sample. So this is something I'm doing a lot, is like looping the sample to like the rhythm of the track. And by like changing the length of it, obviously you see here, you've got a sort of slower, like maybe not funkier, but yeah, a bit more spacious groove. So I really like experimenting with the length of the samples. And then that's obviously going to go FMing into like my sine wave here. And the FM is also on an LFO, and this is also done like by sort of ear, like the speed of it. So that's giving like some extra pumping as well. But anyway, yeah, there's no real structure to this video today. Just wanted to sort of basically jump on YouTube again and say hi and let you know that I'm still alive and I haven't forgotten about you. But yeah, so anyway, you know, like, there was like lots of parts of this sample. Here it's a bit too like cartoony, I don't know. Here there's like just texture but not quite enough. When I got the sort of transient, the sort of first little transient part and then the sort of fading down bit here, that sounded like a really nice like balance. So it gives like, it gives that sort of punch to the start of the sound by using the texture, you know? So the output of this goes into the phase modulation of what is basically just a sine wave, right? At -24. And then the global unison is on, and that's doing a lot. Because that's also on the macro. And when that comes up, you'll start to hear like these extra unison higher up, yeah, like kind of harmonics coming in. But yeah, that's cool to just like fill out the sound, give it a bit more stereo. It's nice to sort of introduce little bits of stereo as you go along in different parts. So like doing a little bit here, and there's no real unison in here. There's just a bit of stereo from the white noise, which is just like a tiny bit of noise in the chain. And then there's like a bit of stereo added in with my sine wave here. Sorry, not sine wave, the sine distortion, which does a lot. So, you know, like if you could take anything away from this sort of terrible tutorial, it's, you know, a really cool sample looped to the rhythm of like the drums, FM that into a sine wave, also try to modulate that FM via an LFO to also sort of get things in time and pumping to the beat. And then, once you got all that, then distort the living daylights out of it. On the sine distortion. And then these extra little ones here are not really doing so much. Like the phase distortion literally just comes on as like another kind of version of the bass, which is a bit more like padded and a bit wide and a bit warmer, but like I quite like the effect of having it off as well. So just a little bit of a high-end EQ boost. But yeah, like with the distortion, like the main one here, you know, that really does a lot. You know, it's so clean sounding that it gives you like all that low end power, and like you get the nice textural kind of combination of what you've done, but it doesn't like sound terrible, like it's distorting the low end or something. It's like a really clean way of overly distorting like the sound, but in a good way, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I really like that. And again, there's like a bit of width coming in, as I said. And the dynamics and the bias, they kind of just change the like sort of tone of the distortion. So that's why I've done a little like 2 little modes, but the first one is my favorite. And again, with the length of the sample, the first one's my favorite. And this harmony kind of bit where the global unison kind of turns up a bit is cool. But I just like it I like things when they're all off. These are just things you could play with to like automate the sound, you know? And yeah, very, very simple. And with the MIDI, I started by having the MIDI all joined together. And obviously, it doesn't really fit in time because, you know, the timing is all done sort of by ear. So when you get to a certain length, it sort of starts to go out of time. So that's why I've done these more like smaller kind of repeating MIDI notes, which is cool because it allows you to have that natural out of time kind of sound going. But as long as it's not going like forever, then, you know, you stop and repeat on the grid again, then it will start to sync up again. And then it allow you to have that like humanized feeling like towards the end of the sort of note. So yeah, I like that in terms of the arrangement, you know. And then I thought I'd just like sidechain it, and basically I've got a little pattern which is like a sort of half step. So it's not like a 2-step. It's more like the kick is just like once every sort of you know, bar or whatever, and then the snare is like just in the middle. So like with my normal LFO tool, it comes on as like a D&B 2-step kind of sidechain, but actually sounded really cool because it chopped out this little gap where there would usually be a kick, but this time there wasn't. But it actually made this extra like funky little gap like in the bass. So I thought I'd leave that on. I thought that was quite cool. And so that was the kind of final result, I suppose. And, you know, like where I've sort of stopped the MIDI notes short, you know, in sort of line with not exactly in line with the drums, but, you know, where I'm sort of intentionally creating these gaps is what's giving it that nice rhythm, in my opinion. So, yeah, nice aggressive Bridge of Doom kind of sound. And yeah, I hope you guys like it. Feel free to grab it if you're on Discord. If you're not, then why aren't you on Discord? Like, it's not that expensive. Like, are you like that broke? Like, seriously, like, get a job or something. Do you know what I mean? Come and join, you know? Anyway, I'm going to get back to bed, and I'll be back again soon with some more videos, and maybe I'll include my face. The thing is, I probably need to get a haircut first and then buy a new t-shirt. I don't know what I'm going to do, but yeah, thanks a lot for watching. And yeah, just wanted to come on and say hi really, and say I haven't forgotten about you all. And peace out, much love. Don't do anything I wouldn't. Ciao for now. See you soon.
Too great.